People see you as by surname of the owners. The kind of impression that I never want to live. I want to create something of my own. Even we have faced this during the tariff which Donald Trump imposed on us. One of my mentors keeps saying to me, the system works, people don't. Companies have come to Bhadohi and they have gone back. Honesty is the biggest takeaway for everybody here.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Factory Frontline podcast. This is your host Rizwan, and today we are in a very interesting location and we are meeting a very interesting person, Mr. Faisal Rub. So there's a lot we can ask him and there's a lot he can tell us. So welcome Faisal.
Welcome Rizwan.
So tell us a little bit about yourself for our audience and about your company also.
So I'm Faisal Rub Ansari. So I am the fourth generation into the family business.
Okay.
So I'm representing RMC as a CEO. It's a legacy business where I have not inherited this business, but whereas for me, it has always been about earning my place within it.
Before you go forward, tell us, what does RMC do?
So we are into carpet manufacturing and export business.
Okay.
It has been since 1972.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we have been creating, everything has been created by hand.
Okay.
And we have been exporting to the big retailers in the US. We have been supplying to a lot of wholesalers around the globe. And we are working with a lot of designers, hospitality projects, hotel projects.
Nice. So you were telling about RMCs. What was your role in RMC?
So as a CEO, so for a legacy business and a family-owned business, people see you as by surname of the owners. The kind of impression that I never want to live. I want to create something of my own. So I wanted to not take it as an inheritance, but I wanted to earn my space for myself in this organization. I saw my grandfather was designer himself and he used to design by hand. Then my father coming in along with my uncles who's building the supply chain and manufacturing. When I got into business, but nobody forced me about coming into business. And it was I was doing my MBA and I finished my MBA and I was looking for a job. One found him, my grandfather called me up, we made you study doing your MBA and you go helping other organization rather than you come and work for our own organization and take it further. Okay. So that was one of the key that I asked him for a 1 week time so that I can just wind up and come back.
You took 1 week to your grandfather to say yes.
No, not to yes. I said to him immediately, I'm ready to join. But for me, working with different organization was to have that corporate culture experience so that I can scale to the another level quickly, which I regret now at this moment sitting down, right? Because when you don't have the exposure, you lack. Every person has a capacity and capability of a certain stage and certain point of time, you get stagnant. So what I did was my experience for not having a job, not working in the corporate culture. And that's why it's taking a lot of time for me to build that organization, that structure, that form. But I'm not able to, but we are doing that in a little lower pace.
Okay. Obviously, so you're saying a corporate job could have made it more faster.
Of course.
Okay.
So it's that kind of experience, your exposure you get there. I'll give you one example. To me, before joining business, I have seen the carpet manufacturing all my life. So it was very easy for me to, one day I have to come to the business. But when I got into business and it took the same thing, it's a carpet business, I've been saying it's the same thing. There was nothing new. There was nothing exciting me. So when my parents asked me to go for my first international trip, and I would say that was really grateful for sending me to the international trip as a business, all alone myself. So my first trip was around for 45 days. I had prefixed my 48 appointments. Well, on the trip, I could only make it to 43 due to some cancellation happened. But that trip changed a lot because meeting international buyers, interacting with them, explaining about the product and their curiosity about the product, the craftsmanship and telling the story about the people behind it, that perspective totally changed in my mind. And when I came back to Bhadohi, what that learning has totally changed. What we do at Bhadohi is totally, craftsmanship is totally, that stuck my mind. Totally.
So you saw Bhadohi from an international lens.
Yeah.
After
Potential it has in abroad. So we don't realize sitting down here. So there's that opportunity
so
for
you
me.
did your MBA here in India?
I did my MBA in India. Though I was my family, my uncles asked me to shift to the US for the business. Whereas my father didn't allow. He said he wants his like kids to be around him all the time.
that was
that kind of
my
regret we
last
have.
question, but anyways, super. So let's just take a moment. I like you've already explained how you joined the business.
Yeah.
Was it a difficult decision, or like what was running in your mind when you wanted to join? That 1 week was all about. Is it learning or was it?
So it's totally an art. I had in my mind. The carpet manufacturing, it's not something we are curating. It is we are building. So every detail, every thread, every count, it matters in the rug. So for me, and that's what I explain to my overseas clients, like for us, this rugs may be, for the end consumer, this rugs may be just a piece of a rug on a floor. For us to delivering this, it's like a piece of an art. So that the space it's created in your living room, your bedroom, it should be filled as a craftsmanship. That is what the motive is to deliver to the world.
Great. And tell us about Bhadohi, because I'm hearing that Bhadohi is all like the carpet city, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about Bhadohi. And then your childhood was all here?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, my childhood entirely.
All 4 generations have been here.
We were sent out very early to the boarding schools. So I didn't had much good friends or connection in Bhadohi. Later when I came back to Bhadohi, our unit and other unit, I see it's like totally a handicraft industry where it is totally unorganized. Whereas this manufacturing, we cannot do 100% automation. It's a totally labor intensive, and every detail, every process, every system requires a lot of labors. Some part of the production you need a skilled, very highly skilled labor. Some part of you need less semi-skilled labor. So it's hard to communicate to them directly on the floor because it's a floor work. So sitting in the office will not work for you. A lot of big companies have come to Bhadohi and they have gone back because they just wanted to operate as a office. But it's always about on the floor. You have to be on the floor. During the Mughal era, when they were transiting from New Delhi to Calcutta, that's kind of stories we have heard in our childhood. My father has been telling. During that thing, some people stayed back due to the illness or something, and then they, for their livelihood, they put a hand knotted loom and they started weaving. And once they left that profession there. So local people had adopted that, and that has inherited from generation to generation. That's how we have gone into. And
great.
Like to my client also, we say that that's like carpet making is in our blood, and we are born on carpet.
Very good, very good. Super. One interesting thing about you being in today's podcast is that, like you also mentioned, it's not like any other manufacturing. It's not like you can automate every part of it. Because it's almost like
it is more like how a baby is born, no? It's like being built from zero.
True.
Like every single rug is built from zero.
Correct.
If I get a container or a single order or any designer's product or any retailer's product, each product is been built from zero.
Correct. And also you have most of your production is handmade carpets, right?
Yeah, the kind of techniques what we do in Bhadohi. So in a world, I don't see any single city or any single country where that kind of competition. Bhadohi has no competition. Even we have faced this during the tariff which Donald Trump has imposed on us. Because handmade to the mass level, what Bhadohi is delivering to the world, no other country, no other city is doing it. We were highly affected, but the kind of business it has, the kind of like mass we are supplying to in the world. So it is like everybody has opted. Otherwise, like for other products, people have moved to China, Vietnam for the furniture, where a lot of automation is done. But they are not able to move rugs because it is a craftsmanship and it's a totally labor intensive, and we at the Bhadohi are able to deliver that.
Okay, great. You said you joined the business, and it's also a 4th generation, almost 4 generations down the business. Tell me, what is the things that when you take up or when you become a part of a generational business, what are the advantages of this kind of an like setup? Because the platform is set, like you already have to come and perform.
Yeah.
So what's the advantages you feel? And also tell me the other side of it, which is like, though there are so many advantages, you might also have a lot of disadvantages in terms of thought process or contradictions. So tell me about that.
So it is very interesting question. I will like to give you an example and brief you about it, because I see two perspectives, two different worlds. So one is the legacy, the craftsmanship, the heritage thing. The other is today's modernization, and then it's like system, then sustainability, and other things today's modern world is wants to offer. So whereas to have this heritage old business craftsmanship alive is one of the biggest achievement in this world right now, because everybody is circling back to the originality, reality, and the heritage thing.
And in this AI world, reality has become more expensive.
More expensive, yeah. So that's like we are fortunate to have this in our hands everyday's life. My only thing is to take this my heritage thing, craftsman, and to today's modern system, sustainability parallel together.
Is that the advantage or is that a disadvantage?
So advantage is like, if you're born in a generation's family business, that is the biggest advantage anybody could have, because building a today's business is not something, it's not a cakewalk. If somebody opts that, it is always a privilege for every generation to opt that legacy business. A disadvantage would be, I would say, is like unorganized sector, unorganized industry. There you will not have a very professional staffs to support you. That's the biggest challenge for me, was building a management level team where talent was really tough, because like there's a quite a few number of like that level of company where people have the managers, like who has the managers doesn't want to switch. So if you want to make a manager, you need to build it like how you have been building your rugs. Okay. So that was one of the key challenges we have been facing in the industry, and we have tried to take an initiative to have our own design team, marketing, sales, rather not here in a better location in like a capital city.
I think my second question was also around that. In a labor-intensive business like this, where craftsmanship and it is more like an artistic thing more than a machine-based thing. So how do you bring in more systems? How do you scale? What was your difficulty once you came in?
So first thing, like, foremost for me, the initial learning was, it is totally about the people. It is not about the carpet or thing. It was totally about the people. With the people only I can go to the next level. So what I started doing was, I started training my people about what I wanted to build, what I want to build, and where we want to go, what we want to achieve, so that they are also aligned with our vision or our mission. So it was totally, we were communicating, we started to hold on meeting for them. We had like a higher authority of people where they were just educating, reporting, and then it was like totally about the decision making, then a weekly meeting, so that like we have that structuring of the people, like manager level, assistant, and how the reporting system happens. Then we started to have their KRA, KPIs, SOPs built, and then we got policies as well. So like that's how we were able to align. The people were also about learning about the system. For them it was new thing, for me also it was new thing, but that system exists for other organizations, so it was easy for me to align. And it was totally about the mindset. So I had to just change the mindset to implement all these things. So it took time, because putting anything in the system was easy, putting anything anyone's head was hard.
Correct.
So that took really little time.
Nice. But most of the time I also hear that setting up systems is easy, making people follow it is the most difficult part. Right?
So well, like one of my mentors, he keeps saying to me, the Faisal, system works, people don't. That's what I get to believe, and that's why that is what actually stuck in my mind. So like he's really what he's making make sense. So we need to work on the system and make the people accountable for what they are.
Correct. I think when you are in a business where there's so much of legacy, so much of people involved in the business who are from more than you, it is all about the people also who have run this business till now. How's this decision-making process or the relationship angle between your previous generations and now? And you when you came in, your grandfather was still there in the business?
Yeah, he was there, the business. But he was not that active. But my father, my uncles was already taken over the business.
Okay.
But grandfather was still, it was same situation where my father is now. So when we brothers got into business, I got into business, my father is enjoying his life. But he still comes to the office.
Okay.
So it's like what we have done is we have totally organized and a management run business. So we have our like sales head, we have our marketing head, so we have our HR, so we have like operations, we have management, and we have our R&D. So that's like every family members has been given their department to run, and we hold like a monthly meeting and review system, and that's how we do it.
So you mean to say that even though the end person who's kind of crafting the weavers or the people who are involved in the process of manufacturing, though they are not able to kind of bring into the systems, you've made all the other parts of the business come into a strong system so that can kind of reflect.
So what I'm able to done is like all my white collar staffs are able in the system at the moment. So like you said, like what has changed for my father? So when I got into business, everything was doing manually. So even every rugs coming for the off-loom, weight management, issuing of like the yarns, thread coming in, it was all manually recorded. I said, why we are doing manual? We don't have any visibility. If we need to track, there's no visibility. We need to be going back and forth and looking. So I started looking for a software. That software has to be as simple as so that my existing staff can I don't need to bring a new one. If I have to manage a training for them, I would definitely want to do, but I don't want to fire any of the existing who are not able to. So that's a given opportunity to them as to opt a new cultural system of the organization, which took really long time, but I was able to make it today. If I say we totally run on ERP.
Oh,
totally every single rug is on ERP or inventory or supply chain. Everything is monitored.
Oh, great.
And that's how our merchandising team, our operation head, they follow the ERP in and out.
Great. So we were talking about your previous generation. So today, your grandfather is not with us anymore, but he was the one who organized this whole business into like a business, his whole carpet manufacturing. If he walks into the factory today or like the offices today, so what do you think he would feel?
If he walks in today's, what he will observe will be the sound. And the sound of hand knotting, the sound of clipping, the sound of scissors cutting. And that's how because earlier it was not on that scale today, at the scale what we are doing today. So he will be proud of what craftsmanship he has started is still being carrying forward in his fourth generation.
Okay, great. But what will also confuse him today?
I probably will say not confused, but he will like surprised to see the kind of mass level production, the virtual meeting happening, the AI, the sustainability, the solar light, and like what I would say like water treatment plants, and like more of like resources being like utilized more organized way.
Okay, great. So what has been the transition of this whole export business from the last few decades?
So I have seen two transitions. So when I came into it, was totally wholesale business we were doing. In wholesale business, what happens was where our creativity is focused, transformed, like whatever we build in terms of design, in terms of color, that importers buys and they're able to sell to like whichever market, like Europe, US, elsewhere. But when I saw a transition happening in 2012, a lot of retailers, they wanted to connect directly with the manufacturers who are doing the work so that they can take this rug into a more of brand driven thing. So a lot of retailers got into business. So my observation there was working with retailers, you have more growth. I see a lot of growth with them because they have multiple chains across multiple countries. They have their design team, they have their procurement team, they have their inventory management team. So we get to work with all this department. So that learning was helping us to improve our system as well. So we never had our compliances, we never had our like certifications. So working with them helped our infrastructure develop.
Okay.
And so what we are today, that is because that transformation.
Okay. Great.
Thing is
Nice things to hear. Tell me one thing, a very personal point I would want to take from you. What was one most difficult moment from the time you have taken over to business, or what would you say was the toughest phase of your after you came into the business?
I will tell you, I have not seen any, because we have been always very broad-minded, thinking of like, we never wanted to run behind the numbers we are doing. It was always about the preserving the craftsmanship. That number never fascinated my father, my uncle, or neither me, neither my grandfather. So it was always the craftsmanship. So we were just trying to preserve, deliver the quality, deliver the commitment which we move, and build our trust in amongst the customer. There was never a turning point in my life, in my business career life, as of I'm not saying, because from my grandfather's transition to my father, my uncle, and me, I think so we are yet to see that transition, because from our childhood we have been told that this is the business, this is the one of the best business in the world, this is what we have built it, you just need to take it on your shoulder and take it to the level. What my challenges what I'm facing currently, because we were not that tech driven before the kind of level of AI is doing today now. So that is one of the key challenging with our infrastructure, with our like designing, with our marketing, how we can adopt that AI. I'm trying to learn that as well. I'm taking a lot of online classes, learning myself how we can integrate, how we can build.
Okay. So sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but tell me, how important do you feel
It is really important.
learning is like for
It is learning is always an important. It's spent like 15 years in the rug manufacturing. I've learned all. It is never. Let's say every new client comes in, every new projects comes in, every new product we make, it is a learning. It gives you a totally different experience altogether.
Great.
Because that you need to understand the designer's perspective, what what the brand is actually asking, at what price point they are asking. So it's like you need to understand their requirement, and you should be a partner to fulfill that requirement, so that can then market your product. And I always like tell my international clients, let it be a retailer, let it be a e-commerce brand, let it be a designer, so don't consider us a rug supplier. We want to be a partner, not for the just one shipment. We want to build a real long-term relation. That's how we have been building a trust and relation. We have been associated with like 40 years, 30 years, 25 years, and 15 years. So that kind of trust we have built, our trust is we have built in amongst our customers.
So what do you think is the reason? Like what?
It's totally
what
our commitment. It's
Okay.
totally what committed. Like we provide the craftsmanship from that generation, and we're like preserving that, having them at their price point, at their design, at their texture and the quality.
Okay, great. So I think there's a lot of things you have told us, but where do you see RMC in the next few decades, and what is your vision for RMC?
Yeah, for me, my vision would be, because I had a discussion with my family, so I want to go on like on a listing company someday. But there's a lot more work to be done to prepare ourselves. We want to be a global brand. We want to be visible in the US. We want to have a multiple office across the globe, and we want to be a brand where people can trust they are the real people who's making the craftsmanship, who's keeping this legacy alive, who's keeping this craft alive, not just making a simple rug, who also has a value about the people associated with them.
Great. So when we are talking about the whole trust aspect, how much do you think marketing is important or integral for any business for that matter?
This is the kind of like I've been going through. So it was like we were running after all this while, no? When I got into business, like done my MBA, and I was a marketing guy, and I was into marketing, and like that marketing was my core subject. So when I got into it was always in my head, like we have to do just marketing, marketing, marketing. About like couple of years back, it somehow it came into my mind, like why I'm running about like marketing. We need to start branding ourselves, because we have a legacy to do, take further. So marketing does today's world, because Instagram or like TikTok, everything. So like it's too easy. But you need to adopt that this is also important for your business. Because if you're not visible, you're not there. Nobody knows that, like, whatever legacy you have doesn't matter. So you need to shout out yourself that we are a company, we manufacture this, and how honestly we do it, how transparently we do it, and it should be told to the customer openly. Then only they will get to hear and they will get to experience the thing.
When you were born, I think the company was born much before you were born.
Yeah. Well, you're
So,
right.
when you were born and you were probably young in your childhood, so you would have been around the manufacturing. You would have been running around.
Definitely,
and all that.
all
So,
the time.
And today, a lot of people who worked with you, even clients, have kind of become people who are working with you.
I'll tell you. So, like, when I got into business, till date, there are people who has been here for like 30 years, 40 years, and they work with my grandfather, and they have worked with my father. So I have to prove to them that I'm not just his son. I also care for you. I also care for the craftsmanship. I have to earn my own like stripes in this business and in that space. So pretty much, like, I had to sit with them on the floor, talk to them, like, understand what their mindset is, what the designing is, what the finishing process is, what the dyeing is, what the weaving is, what differentiate is, how matters, like what was in their mindset, and where do they see themselves in RMC. It is always for RMC. It is always been about the people. We truly respect that anybody who works here should be proud to say that we work at RMC, and we are pretty much able to do that. We could see people coming here, they don't, and we have very few like percentage of people going out of resigning and going out every hardly, and we never fire anybody in the organization. So we want to have all the people are lovely here, all people support us in no matter what. Like you have experience. Yeah, you have already experienced that.
Okay.
So it's totally it's not never a one man show. It is always about the team support.
Okay. When it is heavily labor dependent, a business which is dependent on labor and also skilled labor, very artistic craftsmanship. How do you think it's sustainable in the long run? Number one, and how do you feel you are able to kind of get that craftsman alive, or have enough people, enough labor resources to be able to keep on pushing your
So
business?
what's happening at the moment is, like, what challenges we are facing now is, like, the weavers their next generation is not coming. So
exactly, that's my question.
It's because they are not able to improve their standard of living. So we support to them in whatever matters. Like, if I say during the demonetization, what happened was all our staffs, all our payments were going like totally cash. So during when that got into, we asked the bank to come to the office, open the accounts for every single staff. So nobody, there was a people who were really scared. So they have no idea of, like, how to use what's the ATM card. So we had to educate to them about the system. So the bank people had to sit in our factory for one full week to open around 600 to 700 accounts for all the staffs. So we tell them, your company is taking a guarantee for all you guys to open and operate. Anything happens, so we are here. So we educated them about them, and today, touchwood, like, we are doing all our 100% payments are like online. So that's kind of like a comfort and confident you should able to build among the people who works for you, so that there is a growth they are looking with you, so that they could stay for the longer run.
Okay. But my question was also about this craftsman. Is it getting difficult to transfer that craftsmanship to the next generation?
Today's like social media's world, everybody see the glamour on the web. Nobody wants to see the behind the story of it. So they just see the glamour. So it is, people need to think about, like, whatever you see in the world, everything is not the real. There are hard work behind it. So people should tend to believe the reality rather than the visuals. That would be my takeaway. That's what I've been telling my younger brothers, my thing, because we should not be running after like limelight or like the glamour, the buzz in the market. We should rather trust, see what RMC has been built on, and we should continue rather than that, and rather than having our own lifestyle improvement and giving that same to your people and your team.
Okay, great. So I think we are almost at the end of the podcast. Just one thing I would want to close this with. What is that one thing you learned from your childhood, which you feel like from your father or grandfather, which you feel today is really helping you when you are in the business? So what you also feel that you will always want to preserve?
First of all, it has to be honesty. That is what amongst my grandfather, my father, and everybody. Honesty is the biggest takeaway for everybody here. In legacy business, no, the trust has to be earned, has to be built. Inheritance you can adopt, that will carry forward to you, but every generation has to build the trust. So honesty with the trust and craftsmanship for me.
Okay, great. I think it was wonderful talking to you, Faisal. It was
Thank you, Rizwan, for having me.
Conversation.
It was a pleasure.
And thanks a lot. There's more conversation we will have in the future. And looking forward, I think RMC is gonna cross even 100 years. And I think we will.
I'm glad.
We'll just wait to see all that.
That is my vision.
And also this whole listing thing, you said it's a great vision you have, and hopefully your family and all of them who are associated with the RMC will be proud someday on your leadership.
That is what I'm trying to make them. They should realize that we are also worth doing that.
Okay. And thanks again for being a part and giving your in a busy schedule, giving your time to speak with us.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So that was Faisal with us today, and there's a lot more people we're going to be interviewing in this podcast. And if you like this video, please do like it. And if you are interested in manufacturing or you want to listen to manufacturers speak, please do subscribe to this channel. And this is Rizwan signing off. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.